Let's do it, big fella. Tell me how you're feeling.
Feeling great, Nath. There's so much to unpack. It actually, prior to starting this show, it was a bit overwhelming because there's so many talking points to get through, I suppose, in the aftermath of that historic election win. But you know, I to give you my brief summary. One, it is quite nice to be validated in terms of predicting the result exactly and getting very close with the margins in each state too. I did a lot of modelling and research, particularly on non-response bias. So the polls get Trump wrong every time is basically the answer. And going with that theme in your modelling, you were bound to get closer than any pollster, which I did comfortably. If I was a professional pollster, I would have been top of the pack. So, yeah, that was quite satisfying. Yeah, I'll try to be modest. But Natho, the reasons, like, no one cares about that. The reasons why the result happened, that's the meat of the story. And you and I have talked a lot about the disconnect. You and I have talked a lot about how society increasingly seems to be or clearly divided, but the disconnect that emerges is really due to the system, including the media, including governments that are classic political class establishment governments pulling away and maybe being so far out of touch with the day-to-day struggles of the common man. So I think this election was a huge rejection of the system, the media elites included. You know, legacy media in this election has taken a hit that I'm not sure they can recover from. They are so out of touch, Natho. They have absolutely no clue, about the thoughts and about the feelings and the problems of the people that they're meant to be representing when they're speaking. So I think this election was validation of the fact that, you know, we've seen the swing happen for a very long time, and I think it's also validation of the fact that we're quite in touch and attuned to what people care about, really, when you get to the bottom of it. Trump winning the popular vote is just incredible. And it speaks to the public consciousness rising. It speaks to a representative who's a genuine leader, who's actually trying to help the people that he's representing. And people saw that, people trust that, and that's why. And the lefty reactions, by the way, are hilarious. I'm not sure if you've seen the vids, but anyway, Natho, that's my very quick summary. We'll break it down, but it's satisfying. But now the real work begins, and there's positive signs already.
It does. It does indeed. And the lefty breakdown, I want to actually, my thoughts. We're going to get into, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on the policy / tasks that you're most excited to see fulfilled. But before we do that, I wanted to just unpack the whole lefty reaction stuff. And I think it was funny. One of the bigger pages here in Australia, bigger podcast, the Hard Yarn podcast, we've been talking a fair bit. And he put out a post on the importance now of reducing the division. Okay. You know, it's crystal clear what side of the ledger was correct and what side of the ledger was incorrect in their thought processes and where they've landed. But I want to start to live by the MO of unity rather than division. And this theme needs to be pushed, because how are we ever going to heal? And I think he made a good point in the fact that the people to blame here are the media and the institution. Let's not point the finger at these poor individuals who've been corrupted, brainwashed, indoctrinated, and are in some cases suicidal at this result, which is so not necessary. But this is exactly the stuff you just touched on: the out of touch media, the insidious media, the insidious institutions. All these things have collaborated and amalgamated in this destruction of vulnerable people. And how can we fix that moving forward? Because whilst we're sitting here on our high horse, very happy, there is a lot of people that are suffering and very upset because they're confused and they've been, quite frankly, they've been duped. They've been duped. It's not their fault. And without going into too much detail, but when I was at church on Sunday, it was such an apt theme. The pastor was talking about how we've sort of won this battle without being too political. He did a very good job metaphorically breaking this down, but he said, you as one of the people that have got it right have a vessel that's about to catch this tsunami of hope and prosperity. But you as the vessel need to be willing to bring other people on the vessel with you, the weaker, the more vulnerable people. And I thought it was one of the most beautiful messages that's really stuck with me the last week. Let's not move through this next period pointing the finger and aggravating the vulnerable and the ones that got it wrong. We need to be able to bring them onto the vessel so that we can all ride the wave of prosperity. Otherwise, there won't be unity. So that's my feelings post-election. I echo all your sentiments, but I also call now for unity and healing. And that can only be done through the righteous and the ones that actually got it right, which is us, that are in tune with all of it. So we have a big responsibility now